China is in a very unique position. It is the only country which is a permanent member of the Security Council, which authorizes peacekeeping operations. It is the country which at the same point of time is also amongst the top 10 troop contributing nations, and with about 10.2% of its contribution to the entire budget of peacekeeping, it is the second largest financial contributor to the peacekeeping operations. There is no other country in the world which is within the top 10 financial contributors, within the top 10 troop contributors, and also a permanent member of the Security Council. This is a unique position with unique responsibilities, and China has been doing very well. We are happy with its contributions of military liaison officers, of medical officers, of hospitals, level 1 and level 2, of engineering companies, and of course the police formed units and individual police officers. All of them have been doing very well.
But there are different interpretations as to why China wants to do that from different parts of the world. What do you make of these diversified voices concerning what China wants?
I don't know about the diversified voices, but the Charter of the United Nations imposes a responsibility on all its member states to contribute to the maintenance of international peace and security. And this responsibility obviously is greater for the members of the Security Council. As a prominent member, permanent member of the Security Council, I think China is playing its rightful role in contributing to the maintenance of international peace and security, and we are grateful for the Chinese contributions.
Sometimes peacekeeping are having the problems of no peace to be kept.
Correct.
So that has a lot to do with the evolving role of the peacekeeping of the United Nations.
Absolutely.
And what should be the groundwork laid before that?
Yeah.
What do you make of all of these recent developments?
The fact that we are now deployed in countries which are facing internal conflict, where peace does not yet exist, and where terrorists continue to operate along the sidelines of peacekeepers. I think these are new and difficult emerging challenges which require us to think together as the international community, through the Security Council, through giving mandates which are clear, through ensuring that the political processes also produce results, while at the same point of time the military peacekeepers provide a blanket of security, a framework within which the political process can unfold.
We see a lot of conflicting points these days in the world.
Yes.
Of course, inside Europe you have the migrant issue, and in the Middle East there are so many traditional and new added problems. How much role do you think peacekeeping can play its role practically?
You know, currently the operations which are supported by my department, that is both the special political missions, the peacekeeping operations, and the African Union operations, they are deployed in 36 places in 30 countries in the world. I don't think we should expand them too much.
It's already stretched thin.
It's already stretched to the limit. What we need to do is to enhance the effectiveness, the efficiency of the peacekeepers, to ensure greater security and safety of the peacekeepers. You know, we unfortunately lost 3 valiant, courageous Chinese peacekeepers, and I pay tribute to their memory. One person lost his life in Mali and 2 others in South Sudan. I think therefore safety and security of peacekeepers, greater effectiveness and greater efficiency should be our motto for tomorrow.
But how can you do that? I mean, it's very important for U.S. policymakers to think about these, but how to implement it? How to have the cooperation of the ground, the countries involved.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
And I think this happens essentially through various discussions that we organize in United Nations. Practically every speaker called for enhanced resources to be provided to the UN peacekeeping. This was a matter of deep satisfaction to me, because they acknowledge the challenges which we are facing.
Now we see the UN is changing in a fast-changing world. What would you expect the future direction of peacekeeping by the UN? And what will that be the job division between the United Nations and the regional powers and individual countries?
I think maintenance of international peace and security in today's volatile world requires the fullest degree of cooperation and understanding between regional organizations, sub-regional organizations and United Nations. I think it is only by working together that we can produce results, which is why over the last 2 years I have greatly enhanced the cooperation which exists between the United Nations, my department particularly, and the African Union. We are also similarly enhancing the cooperation with the European Union and in due course of time with ASEAN or other regional organizations of the world.
What are the realistic expectations the UN should have about China?
I think the realistic expectations are the fulfillment of the pledges which were announced by His Excellency President Xi Jinping in the Peacekeeping Leaders Summit in September 2015. And I will divide these pledges into 3 broad categories. First is the contribution which the China will make through its troops, through its equipment. And as you know, China has decided to put 8,000 troops on standby. We have already conducted an assessment visit for a rapidly deployable formed police unit. As we speak, my team is doing an assessment of their equipment so that we can place them in what is known as level 3, beyond level 1 and level 2. Level 3 means that they are most ready to deploy.
I see.
So it's
That's
a question
right. Okay.
of time period of deployment rather than the dangerous places. Second is the contribution which China will make towards the development of peacekeepers from other countries. You know, it was promised that China will train about 2,000 peacekeepers from different countries, and we look forward to that because, as I told you earlier, every UN member state has a responsibility to contribute to the maintenance of international peace and security, but sometimes they are unable to do it because either they are lacking the skills and training or they are lacking the equipment. And I discussed both these issues with the Chinese leaders during my visit. And third, of course, is support to the Africa for its own peacekeeping. And as you know, there was an announcement of $100 million being made available to African Union peacekeeping, and we look forward to the implementation of that pledge. Similarly, we will do studies for other brigade, the Vanguard Brigade, which China supports, and we hope that in due course of time, China can provide us with military helicopters, including armed helicopters, with transport helicopters, utility aviation helicopters, and so on.